So the divisional round of the NFL playoffs is here, and wow, those first two games did not disappoint for completely different reasons. Before I get into the main topic of this video, I wanted to briefly talk about the Seahawks 49ers game because, oh boy, was this a massacre. Tuning into the start of this game, my initial thought was, man, this crowd's energy is amazing. Imagine if they returned it all the way. That would really be a nice way to blow this game open right away. And then this man brought the ball home, not from 95 yards. And that was kind of the attitude of the whole game. The 49ers got their second field goal on the board at 4:32 left in the first half and didn't score for the rest of the game, while Seattle just continued to beat the crap out of San Fran on both ends of the field. After Kittle was sacrificed last week to keep CMC healthy, I think most people expected Seattle to win, but thought that the 49ers could make the game interesting. But that didn't happen. Prior to the start of the playoffs, nobody had any idea who the heck was going to win, and with Seattle there were a lot of questions, especially around Sam Darnold. And despite some fans suspecting this injury was made up to be blamed for when Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, he looked good. All this to say, I think the Seahawks are winning the Super Bowl, and honestly, I think the only team with a serious chance to challenge them is the Rams, especially with Bo Nix's injury. The Bills-Broncos game was just phenomenal, entertaining the entire way through, even if it had an anticlimactic ending. And it also makes me raise the question of, will Josh Allen ever win a Super Bowl? Because, look, before these playoffs started, everyone knew, whether they said it or not, that this was easily Allen's best chance to make it all the way to the top. No Lamar, no Burrow, and most importantly, no Mahomes. With full respect to May and Stafford, Allen was the best quarterback in these playoffs by a wide margin. And while that alone doesn't guarantee you win games, it sure does help. But just like every other year, the Bills came up short, and in typical fashion, at least in how the game ended. This is the third straight season the Bills have lost by 3, and the 5th time in Josh Allen's career where he's been eliminated in a one-score playoff game. Heartbreaking losses again and again and again. Just like any superstar, Josh has his defenders, and you know what? When your defense gives up 42 points, it's a little hard to put the blame on the guy who threw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. Honestly, I'm not here to bash Allen as a playoff performer. He's not perfect, but he's also not bad, and of the 4 QBs that are generally considered the 4 best in the league today, he's probably only behind Mahomes in terms of pure playoff ability, even if Burrow has made a Super Bowl. But this loss tonight in Denver is absolutely on Josh. He played well for the majority of the game, but fumbling the ball twice and throwing 2 interceptions just cannot be justified in any sense of the imagination, and yet I am still seeing people trying to defend him. Oh, the Bills were the 6th seed, what did you expect? I don't know, the team that was favored to win the game to actually win the game. The team with far more playoff experience to actually come through. If Josh doesn't have this fumble before the half, which, side note, Buffalo, what the heck are we even doing here? Then the Bills win the game. I mean, 63% of people picked the Bills to win in Denver on this ESPN poll, which everyone knows has the smartest NFL analysts on the planet. If the Bills were to have gotten blown out, that would have been a far better look for this team because maybe then you could have argued that everyone simply underestimated Denver. But with an actual close game that they could have won, everyone expects that they should have won. That's really the rebuttal I have for any arguments here. Another one of which is pulling the ref card. Now look, if you want to complain that these 2 plays were called for pass interference while this one wasn't, I can get behind that. I think both of these should have been no calls if this was a no call. And calling any of them essentially ends the game anticlimactically. But again, the Bills did this. And if you are one of those people working hard to defend Allen's PR, ask yourself this. If another quarterback, not naming any names or anything, where they had their high moments, good passes, 3 touchdowns, and was great on the ground, but also had several critical turnovers that ultimately lost them the game, would you defend them in the same way? Now, do I think Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl? Of course. Do I think he will win a Super Bowl? More than likely, it is a positive thing to bet on. But there isn't this guarantee in sports of a next time. I mean, look at the turnaround for the Chiefs, Eagles, Vikings, or Commanders from last year to this year. I'm sure fans of those teams were telling themselves, next year, we'll be back here. Or, next year, we'll take another leap. Maybe even a bit of, gee, I'm glad we got rid of Sam Darnold. That guy could never win a playoff game. Now, maybe Patrick Mahomes comes back and is never the same again and is no longer able to terrorize Josh after his ACL tear. But who's to say Josh doesn't tear his ACL? What if the entire Bills roster next year is struck down by injuries? And how about the year after that, Josh sprains his ankle right before the playoffs start and is out? And the year after that, Tom Brady comes out of retirement for his 8th ring. All these things are equally as likely, and they prove that you can't make these passive statements of, we'll get them next time, because in sports, next time isn't guaranteed. Now sure, sometimes you might say that and actually do it, and then you get a bunch of aura and edits or something like that. But what about all the guys that said that same thing and didn't get back? In 1984, Dan Marino broke football. He threw for 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns, feats that shattered the previous records and that wouldn't be fully surpassed until 30 years later. He made the Super Bowl that season, but ended up losing. Now, Marino was only 23 in his second season. I wasn't alive back then, but I'm about 1,000% sure any person who cared about football at that point would have said that Dan Marino was not only going to return to the Super Bowl, but win several championships before retiring. And then reality hits. Dan Marino never made it back to the Super Bowl. I know most of this video has been doom and gloom, but this was Josh Allen's best chance so far to win a championship, and it may be his best chance ever. I mean, I'm sure that realization had a lot to do with why he was so upset in the post-game interview. Seeing a Hall of Fame caliber players retiring without winning at all at least once is never fun to see. Unless, they were a terrible person. I do hope Josh Allen wins at least one ring in his career. Obviously, he needs to earn it, and I do believe he's very capable of earning it. It just might have to be with a less ideal set of circumstances. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and also checking out this video where I compare Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal for the title of the most dominant player in NBA history. Have a great day, everybody.